Hello and welcome to Unboxing with Bill. My name is Bill Hirschinger. I'm the Director of Engineering at Standard Electric. And today we have a special guest from Littelfuse. His name's John Lance.
And I'm John Lance. I'm the Regional Sales Manager for Littelfuse in the Upper Midwest and the Northeast. So glad to be here.
So I'd like to see, what did you bring for us today, John?
We're going to find out.
Got a nice little knife for my son's wedding back in Colorado a year and a half ago. So I keep forgetting how to use it.
Just when everybody needs it away.
I don't want to leave it open. So,
Okay.
let's see what we have.
Okay. Looks like we've got a box in
A
there.
box in a box. Those are always happy. Littelfuse. Looks like some labeling on the side.
Yeah,
I'm going to let
absolutely.
you
Okay.
open it up here and show us.
Well, we've got some terminal blocks, which will
Yeah.
be important for this new product. So here we go. This is the newest addition to our portfolio of Arc Flash Relays. So this is the new AF0025 Arc Flash Relay. It's a little different than the rest of our Arc Flash Relays, and it's a little smaller, and it's also board level.
So is this
it's
use the fiber optic detection as well?
No,
Okay.
it does not. So this particular relay is built primarily for OEM applications. So it's
Okay.
lower cost than the other three Arc Flash relays. And it was designed primarily for OEMs and smaller cabinets where they require Arc Flash. Functionally, it does all the same stuff, uses the same technology that we use in the bigger ones. It's just got less inputs. This one has 2 inputs. The bigger ones might have 4 to 8 inputs in it. Sensor-wise, so the way an Arc Flash relay works is you're trying to detect a flash of light,
Right.
which is the beginning of an Arc Flash incident. The quicker you can pick up that light,
And it's within milliseconds.
milliseconds. The bigger Arc Flash relays will trip a breaker within a millisecond.
Wow.
This one's 5 milliseconds, so it's a little bit slower, but it's based upon the application. So this one would be used. A good application for this is in a solar combiner box. You've got a lot of terminations in there. Those terminations come loose over time, and when those terminations can come loose, they can cause a little arc and a spark in that cabinet, and eventually cause a fire if you don't stop it. And the way you stop it is you trip the breaker. Usually you'll have a shunt trip breaker within the panel. This device has two outputs, one to alarm and then one to form C contacts to trip the breaker,
Yep.
shut off the power, and quench the
Shunt
arc.
trip or
Yep,
whatever.
A shunt trip breaker.
So
exactly.
the detection, where is the actual detection done on this?
Yeah, so it comes with traditionally we use 2 types of sensors. We use a fiber optic sensor,
Right.
which in a larger piece of switchgear you can
You
wind
can
around
bring
the
it
bus
around
bar and wind it all
Yep.
the way through the enclosure.
Gear, yep.
And then the other sensor we have is more of a dome sensor. So it's a little bit of a point sensor light.
But
And
that
it-
connects into these
Exactly.
one of these connectors.
So we can
Okay.
handle 2. So this one does not work with the fiber optic, only with the point sensors.
Okay.
And again, you're in a smaller enclosure.
And it is for an OEM pricing level.
And it's for an
too,
OEM.
so-
You're a few
Yeah.
$100s versus over $1,000
Right,
or
for the
more
other
for the
ones.
bigger ones. So it's built particularly for the OEM applications. It's non-UL, which may or may
Is
not
it
be
coming around to be UL potentially or not?
Good question. I don't know the answer
Okay.
to that. I think the part of the reason it's not UL for the initial applications is we're just looking for lower cost.
Okay.
And
Oh, I got an Arc Flash story for you. Mike, you and I, this is probably about 20 years ago, we were doing a startup in Sheboygan for it was for a granary. They're
Okay.
doing a drying system, and we had these 4 Siemens drives, and they were sitting on site for about
Sure.
4 to 5 months. So whenever that happens, these big drives need to have a forming of the capacitors done so that you
Right.
can creep voltage into them and all that. Well, we were starting it, and the forming system ended up saying everything is A-OK. So then we decided to do the startup, and the doors were open,
yeah.
and we started the drive up, and all of a sudden the capacitors started popping like shotgun shells,
Okay.
shotgun rounds, and Mike was on the floor running around on his ankle, and I was laughing. But it was kind of funny. But that was my first Arc Flash experience.
They're pretty serious. I mean,
Oh, yeah, it was.
I've not seen one personally, but you would think just a smaller enclosure.
Yeah.
And I've somebody that I worked with, they dropped the screwdriver across the terminals, and that spark and flash, it literally turns into an explosion.
Yes. Been there, done that. But
Yeah. So it's a pretty serious event.
all my fingers and everything else are
Yeah.
still round.
Yeah,
so.
and most customers have done Arc Flash studies, so they know within their facility by enclosure what the incident energy levels are, which means what level of PPE you have to wear, how far back you have to stand.
All the gear.
And
You have to wear is crazy
and
from what
the
it was.
whole purpose of this is to save equipment and ultimately to save lives, because you want to stop
Yep.
the flow of electricity as soon as you see a little spark of light, and that's what we do. You know, from a millisecond to 5 milliseconds in the case of this one, we'll trip that breaker and shut off the power.
John, thank you for coming along.
You're welcome.
If any of you would like to know more about this Littelfuse Arc Flash detector, please contact one of our account managers, and especially John Lance here,
Right.
for any other help. So
Right.
thank you very much.
You can always go to littlefuse.com as
Yep.
well.
And we got a whole rep group that help us out too.
Absolutely.
So have a great day, and we'll see you soon.